Now we'll start the second technical session on PMFME guidelines, FSSI packaging and DPR outlooks. So our first session will be on PMFME scheme guidelines and features. Unfortunately, Dr. Ravi R. Sinija madam was committed in other meeting, so she couldn't be joined with us. So for this session, we have with us Mr. Vijay, young professional, Neptam Tanshavur. Vijay, you can start the session now.
Can I able to hear me?
Yes, you are audible and your slides are visible. Please make it in a slideshow mode. Yeah,
Good
go
morning,
ahead.
Honorable President here. Myself going to take this section. Basically, the scheme implemented by MOFE to formalize micro food processing sector. So coming to the objective of this scheme is providing the increase the access in time of loan by exiting micro food processing entrepreneurs. It further aims in supporting FBOs, SHS and cooperatives. It's also aim at providing the professional technical hand-holding support to micro enterprises, which will help in formalizing the micro food processing sector. The scheme on formalizing an unorganized micro enterprises, FBO and SHS to make investment to upscale their operation. There is support for transition of 2 lakh entrepreneurs in informal framework networks. So coming to the major feature of the scheme, actually is based on the ODOP approach. Here we are talking about the processing of bakery products. Processing of bakery products under covering the ODOP products. Then total outlay of the scheme 10,000 crore for a period of 5 years up to the 2025. 5 years like 2021 to 24-24. So coming to the benefit of the PMFM scheme, the scheme funding support can be provided for the upgradation of existing micro unit as well as the new unit in time of credit lending subsidy of 35%. And one more thing, that the maximum ceiling amount rupees 10 lakh per individual or group members. In addition, seal capital support is also available to the self-help group up to the 40,000 rupees per member. In the beneficiary contribution should be the minimum of 10% of project cost with the balance being available as from the loan. And there is a state level marketing and branding support around the 50% of the grant for the government organization, so they can apply for the common brand under the scheme. And there is the support for establishing common incubation center with the 100% funding support for government organization and 50% in case of private institution. Okay. So coming to the support of the scheme, we can classify it as a individual unit as well as group unit. So there is a no age limit and education qualification required for the applying under the scheme. The enterprises will be eligible for the loan even if bank loan available any of the central and state government schemes. As I said earlier, beneficiary contribution should be the 10% of the total project cost, and the working capital support at the rate of 40,000 rupees per SKG members will be given by the SKG Federation. And there is the state level marketing and branding support around the 50% of grant for government organization. In case of private organization, 50%. So they can apply for the common brand under the scheme. And the marketing and the branding support can be the channelized through the state nodal agency. So they will be putting up the proposal to the ministry. Then the further mistake and the further process will be followed by the ministry. So here we can see the how to apply the PMFM scheme, how to avail the loan and all. So for the group application, apply with the DPR, detailed project report to the state nodal agency, which will undergo the preliminary check by the nodal officials. And all exiting or new unit, individual unit have to apply through the online portal. I will show you later how to apply this scheme. how to benefit this scheme. So coming to the capacity building support, now we'll move on the next another important component of the scheme, the capacity building, which involve the providing training to all stakeholders of the scheme in the form of two aspects. One is the product specific training, another one is the entrepreneurship development training. The majority of training they conducted by uh, conducted in online mode, whereas the beneficiary training are conducted in physical mode for the better transmission of knowledge and impact on the conduct. Okay. So coming to the master level training, so here we are classified as a 9 food subsector, like fruit and vegetable processing, grain processing, milk and milk processing, fat and oil seed processing, fish and marine products, spice and plantation craft, bakery and confectionery, minor forest produce, meat and poultry processing. This and all training conducted by various national level research institutions, including like our NIPTAM Tanjavur, NIPTAM Kundli, CFTR Mysore, CFT Kuchi, like whatever that food related institute training given by to master trainers. So once that master trainers qualified at the state level, master training will be provided to training to the district level official and the district level trainers and the district resource persons. So here we are the district resource persons responsible for the providing the hand-holding support to the beneficiaries for the preparation of DPR. DPR means a detailed project report. So they are trained by master trainers about the scheme and food domain sector in detail. Once they trained and qualified, then they will be eligible to provide the support to the beneficiaries. Okay. So coming to the food-based training model developed by NIPTAM Tanjavur. So far, these are the food-based training model developed by NIPTAM Tanjavur for beneficiaries. Total 98 ODOP processor product we have uploaded in the website. I will take you the web page to the for demo. So this is the home page of the PMFME scheme. In this, click on the training material ODOP tab. Now you can see the domain-wise segregation of the products. So, if example, I will select the fruit and vegetable processing. We have uploaded numerous varied products made from the different kind of fruit and vegetables product, which include the processing PPTs and a demonstration video and the packaging technology of food safety and FSSAI regulations, model DPR, course material. This and all we upload. It will be available in different language also. Also, we upload the course material and the DPS. So after that, coming to the creation of common incubation facilities of the PMFME schemes. It's basically the creator for ODOP and LED products for that running for the commercial basis, and to provide the training to beneficiaries through the incubation center at the training rate of prescribed under the PMFE scheme based on the national skill frameworks. So, silent future of the common incubation facilities. Normally, the primary processing line, secondary processing line, tertiary processing line, packaging and storage, and the effluent treatment also include the common incubation facilities. So coming to the this is the cost norm left by the ministry for setting up the common incubation facilities. One by one we will see. First one is that 3 to 5 processing line has to be there for common incubation facilities, and the capacity should be the 1 to 2 ton per day for ODF and LED produce, and the flooring and the minor renovation of the existing building and the electrical connection and the other auxiliary unit like boiler, RO plant, ETP plant for the this also for ministry providing the funding around 50 lakh rupees. If you want to create the food testing lab inside the incubation center, separately they will give 25 lakhs allotted for the allotted. And then total cost around 2 lakh, 275 lakh totally, it including food testing lab and processing line, flooring, this and all. So coming to the basic equipment required for the food testing lab. Already I said earlier, basic food testing lab record total approximate amount 25 lakhs. So it including the hot air oven, SOX apparatus, protein apparatus, muffle furnace, weighing balance, in this and all basic equipment, total around 25 lakhs. So coming to the funding detail of this PMFME scheme, in case of government institution, 100% PMFME scheme, and in case of private agency, 50% PMFME scheme, 50% private agency, and private agency in tribal district, 60% PMFME scheme, 40% private agency. Okay, this is all about PMFME schemes. If you have any queries related to this section, post in the chat box. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the next technical talk, which is on FSSAI licensing and registration for bakery unit. For this session, we'd like to invite Dr. R. Vidyalakshmi, Professor and Head, Department of Food Safety and Quality Testing, NIPTEM, Thanjavur. Ma'am has received her PhD degree in Agricultural Microbiology from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, Coimbatore, and PhD in Biotechnology from Sasta University, Thanjavur. Ma'am is also the Quality Manager of the Food Testing Laboratory at NIPTEM, Thanjavur, which is NABL accredited FSSAI Referral Laboratory and FSSAI National Reference Laboratory. Ma'am is an active researcher and expertise in food microbiology, food safety and quality assurance. She is an active member of the Center of Excellence on Grain Sciences, contributing to grain research and its quality analysis. Ma'am is a life member of Association of Microbiologists of India and Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India. She is an expert in microbial safety and quality testing of foods. Ma'am has published numerous research papers in peer-reviewed national and international journals. Ma'am is the reviewer for reputed journals in food microbiology and food processing. We welcome you, ma'am, to this webinar.
So very good afternoon to all of you. I'm sorry, I'm just taking the lunch time of all of yours. So to be very quick, before going into the FSSAI standards and how to obtain registration and license, let me first tell you why is a license or a registration important. So a registration or a license from the food authority is a requirement. It's a mandatory requirement for FPOs to commercialize their food products. Why? Because it is a safety point of view to ensure that the food what they sell is fit for consumption. And why food safety means it is an assurance given from a regulatory authority that this food has been inspected, this has been produced in a very good manner, it doesn't contain any toxins and contaminants, and it is fit for consumption. Because 1 in 10 people around the globe, they fall ill or they die as a result of consuming unsafe food. And that is the reason why we are emphasizing more on the safety aspects of the food. So coming to the foodborne illness, we can classify that into two categories. One is a food infection and a food intoxication. So as we all know, like infection is by the consumption of pathogenic bacteria or any other pathogens who react in our body and cause the illness. Whereas food intoxication is by the ingestion of toxins, and these toxins may be chemically synthesized or they may be biologically produced. And the hazards are conditions and contaminants which are found in food, which may render the food unsafe or unfit for consumption. And this hazard is classified into 3 types. So physical hazards, chemical hazards, and biological hazards. So as we all know, physical hazards are all the extraneous matter, the things which are not comprising the actual composition of the food. So they may be any foreign objects, like it may be stones, they may be organic in nature, they may be inorganic in nature, some straw, like some bowls, nuts, hairs, metal fragments, plastics, glass pieces. So these all constitute the physical hazards which can be removed by sieving. And chemical hazards are all the residues, toxic residues like your veterinary drug residues, antibiotic residues, pesticide residues, toxins, heavy metals. So all these, some radioactive substances and excessive use of preservatives. So all these constitute the chemical hazards. And biological hazards are all the pest, parasites, and the pathogenic microorganisms constitute the biological hazards. So the importance of food safety is, as I already told you in the beginning, to ensure that the food is fit for consumption. And this food safety, like the consumer, what he will expect the buyer to ensure that whatever product he sells is safer. But the shopkeeper, he himself may not be the manufacturer. He may be procuring it from a distributor, from a retailer, right? So they may be procuring it from the manufacturer. So manufacturer, where does he go for the raw material? The raw material is procured from the farmer producers. So each one is dependent on the other in the value chain of food. So the food safety is togetherness, the responsibility of each and every individual, starting from the farmer producer to the consumer. So it is a multidisciplinary and a multi-sectoral aspect. And as a consumer, they should also read the directions given on the labels and protect the food upon receipt and store it appropriately to prevent it from further infestations. And talking about food safety, we also need to know what food hygiene is. When it comes to hygiene, like the pandemic has taught us a lot about hand washing. But hand washing alone is not a hygiene practice. It is one of the hygiene practices. And there are a set of good practices to be followed to achieve food hygiene as a whole. And this is one of the important aspect of registration or licensing. So the registration or the license is not only ensures that the product is safe, which means in terms of quality and safety. It is not, most of us think like the final product, like say example, cookies is being produced. We just give the cookies for testing. We test its moisture content, protein, fat, fiber, whatever the nutritional contents, and some microbial studies, and ensure like, okay, fine, the cookies is up to the quality and the safety norms. It is good. It is ready for commercial. No, it is not like that. How is the cookie prepared, in which area, in which premises, in which manufacturing industry it is being prepared? Is the manufacturing industry adopting good manufacturing practices? This is one of the mandatory requirements for a licensee to adopt. And your registration or a license of FSSAI is given to the good manufacturing practices, which is a mandatory requirement to be adopted by food business operators as per Schedule 4 of the Food Safety Standards Regulation Act. So let us first have an intro of what are all the general requirements of the hygienic and sanitary, which means the good manufacturing practices to be adopted by any food business operator. First of all, the location and the neighborhood of the food establishment, which means your food manufacturing unit should be located in such a way that it is free from environmental pollution. It doesn't have any potential hazardous threat of contaminants, pest infestation. So we should ensure that the premises is first located in a well hygienic area. So that is the first and prime most important thing. Next is the layout and design of the establishment. How do you establish it? So in case the walls of the building should be well established. There should not be any flaking or any plastering or any what do you say, like own out of the parts coming out. And there should be segregation of the food area from the non-food areas. There should be appropriate drainage adopted, and the slope of the flooring should be given such that whenever you carry out a clean in place, so that there is no water stagnation occurring in the premises. And the equipments and containers used for manufacturing of the food should be corrosion free. It should be made of food grade ESS material. Appropriate disinfection should be adopted. Appropriate cleaning practices should be adopted, and the water which is supplied should be adequate. And that water which is used in the manufacturing process, like in case of bakery, water is being used for dough making, and you cannot use any water for dough preparation. So a water which is potable in nature should be used. And how do you ensure the potability of the water? You should test your water from an accredited laboratory telling that it is potable in nature. And likewise, facilities for washing the raw materials, facilities for cleaning the utensils, and facilities for washroom, all this should be segregated. That is a very, very important aspects. And you should have appropriate food quality control systems, and the best before date of the raw materials or the finished products should be well ensured. And likewise, the storage area of the finished goods should be kept segregated from the production area. And appropriate time temperature combination, or why we suggest this time temperature combination, because you can see here there is a danger zone between 40 to 140 degree Fahrenheit. So this zone is called as the danger zone because this is the temperature where most of the pathogenic bacteria can comfortably survive and multiply. So when the food is held at this danger zone, that is between 40 to 140 degree Fahrenheit for a longer time, which means more than 2 hours, there is all possibility that the food can likely be contaminated. So whatever foods to be held hot should always be held above 140 degree Fahrenheit, and whatever foods which are to be held cold, we called as cold holding, should be held below 4 degrees Celsius. So this should appropriately be followed. And likewise, appropriate pest control measures should be adopted in the premises. So personal hygiene, wearing a hairnet, wearing a apron, a mask, a face mask, gloves, shoes, appropriate clothing, all these are important personal hygiene practices. Preventing cross-contamination is very, very important. We may adopt all the good manufacturing practices, but if we don't have appropriate cross-contamination, if we don't prevent cross-contamination, then all the efforts taken would be wasted. So these cross-contamination occurs in 3 routes. One is from food to food, which means like when the spoiled food or the raw material is mixed up with the non-spoiled or non-infested food. So there is a possible chances of cross-contamination. Hands to food, when the personal hygiene is not proper, so hands to food. Equipment, when the equipment used in the manufacturing or in the preparation is not appropriately sanitized, appropriately cleaned, then there is all possibility for contamination of the food. So good manufacturing practices are set of practices as stated now, to be adopted by all food business operators who are applying for a license or a registration. So coming to the aspects of registration and licensing, so we call the FPOs who are having an annual turnover of less than 12 lakhs as petty food manufacturers. So it is sufficient that these petty food manufacturers who are having an annual turnover not exceeding 12 lakh rupees apply for a registration. And licensing is for those food business operators who are having a business volume of more than 12 lakhs and up to 20 crores. So the FPOs having an annual turnover from 12 lakhs to 20 crores need to apply for a state food license, and those above 20 crore of annual turnover need to apply for a central food license. And some of the documents required for registration certificate involves a photo ID, a government issued photo ID, a proof of address of business. So as I told you, the FSSAI registration or the license is given to the manufacturing address. Okay. So the proof of address of business is very, very important. Why to the manufacturing address? Because I told you the good manufacturing practices needs to be adopted, which is a mandatory requirement in the Act, in the FSSAI Act. So that is why your premises will be inspected by a food inspector, that the GMP is being appropriately adopted in this manufacturing address. So in accordance with the GMP practices, the set of commodities or the products are being produced. Okay, so proof of address of business is very, very important. And in addition to the mandatory requirements, some additional documents like the list of equipments, the analysis report of your product, of the water quality. So all these, some of the additional documents to be added for a license, to obtain a license. So all, whether it is a registration or a license, so you need to specify your kind of business, KOB. This is called as KOB. And what is this KOB? Means it is a kind of business. You have to specify what is your kind of business. Are you a manufacturer? Are you a distributor of food? Are you a retailer? Or are you a repacker? So likewise, what is the kind of business which you are involved in food? So are you a transporter of food? I just transport, I have some refrigerated vehicles. So I just transport the milk from the cooperative to the production unit. That is my job. So I am just a transporter of the food commodity. So whatever is your kind of business needs to be specified, and under this kind of business, you can attach what are all the products which you wanted to be covered under this license. So Form A needs to be filled up and applied for registration, and Form B needs to be filled up for license. So all, whether to apply for a registration or a license, you can just make it online. So you can refer to this website on FSSAI. This is called as FOSCOS. So this is a food safety compliance system, which is this portal has been created for FPOs to apply for registration or a license. And you have various tabs here. All these are self-explanatory. So you need not worry where to go, whom to approach for a license or a registration. You can just simply log into this portal and you can apply online. So before applying, you can just refer this how to apply. What are all the documents? As I told you, whatever I've shown you, the list of documents, everything will be here. What are the fee particulars? So 100 rupees fee for registration, and for license a minimum of 2,500 up to 5,000 or 7,500, depending upon the volume of your business, depending upon whether you are carrying out the business in different localities. Suppose you have businesses at more than one point in a state or across the states, then you have to go for a central license. So all the details are on the portal, and it's quite readily available as well. So first step, what you need to do is to have a business plan. And after you establish a business plan, determine what will be your yearly turnover. So just predict what could be the turnover, and accordingly decide based on the turnover whether you need a registration or a license. So then you fill out the appropriate form. Registration means Form A, license means Form B. And accordingly, you just complete the documentation, pay the appropriate fee and submit the applications. So once you submit the application, you will get a 17-digit reference number. So you can use this number to track the status of your application actually. So if you see, like for a registration, a 30 days period is applicable. So inspection of the site is not mandatory in case of a registration. If at all required, the food inspector may inspect your premises and check if GMP is being adopted. But for licensing, inspection of the premises is mandatory. So after inspection, in both cases, if at all they find any non-compliance, that certain aspects are not complying with the regulation, you will be given a period of time to rectify all the non-compliances and to set to compliance. So after that, you can apply for, and after that you can again come back after corrections, you can again come back for compliance, and your premises will be re-inspected or it will be revisited again to check for compliance. So this is the normal procedure. So once everything is set right, so you will be issued a 14-digit FSSAI number. So this FSSAI number comes in an alphanumeric way. So this is FSSL or FSSR. Okay, in case of registration, it will be FSSR. In case of license, it will be FSSL. So what does this 14-digit number imply? The first digit implies whether it is an FSSAI registration or a license. And the following 2 digits is denoting your state code, and the following 2 digits denotes the year of enrollment of business, and the next 3 digit denotes the quantity of the enrolling master. The last 6 digits will represent your unique FBO permit number, but that doesn't mean that you have to write only the last 6 digits. Okay, so along with this FSSAI symbol, you have to print this alphanumeric code, the 14 digits in the label. So this is a mandatory requirement. So coming to the safety and the standards regulation, there are different regulations actually. So whatever so far we have seen is given in the licensing and the registration of food businesses. So next, coming to the product standards, which is given in the Product Standards and Food Additives Act. So what are all the contaminants, toxins, residual levels? So that is given in contaminant toxin. The packaging regulation is given here. You have the labeling and display. Likewise, you have different regulations. I've given only, these are just some indicative regulations which are present. You can visit the FSSAI website for continuous updates and the different regulations which are put forth. So coming to our bakery products, this is coming under 2.4, which is cereal and cereal based products. So under cereal and cereal based products, under the category of 2.4, the 15th item is our bakery products. So there are certain bakery products listed. So due to, I'm just for an idea, I'm just giving a few of some of the products here. So this is freely available in the FSSAI website. You can go to this regulation, Food Product Standards and Food Additives Regulation, and under cereals and cereal products, under 15th item bakery products, you can just go and have a look at what are all the products which are given. Say for example, biscuits. So biscuits will include wafer biscuits, which are made from Maida Vanaspati. So the production of the biscuits, what are all the possible ingredients which can be used in the biscuit making, is also presented in the regulation. And the regulation also permits addition of some permitted preservatives. So that is being listed in Appendix A. This I will just show in the forthcoming slides. And in case if we are adding any artificial sweetener, so that needs to be specified on the label. It's a labeling requirement. In case if we are adding any oligofructose, like dietary fibers, so that also needs to be specified on, it is a requirement that needs to be specified on the labeling requirement. Okay, so this is how it goes. And the quality standards includes ash insoluble in dilute HCl shall not be more than 0.1%, and acidity expressed as oleic acid should not exceed 1.5%. So this is the minimum quality standard which is given for a biscuit. So likewise for bread. So there are, you can see the production, the ingredients which can be added into bread, and you have the quality standards here and the labeling requirements as well. So this is Appendix B, Appendix A, which talks on the list of food additives which can be added. So for in case of bread, you can see there's a list of additives given. Say you have acidity regulators, we have emulsifiers, stabilizers, we have a category of improvers, antioxidants, and preservatives, so colorants, so whatever, depending on the suitability of the product. So against each and every category, you can see a list of items which are listed and their limits to be added in the product. Say in case of an acidity regulator, acetic acid. So if I need to add an acetic acid in bread, so how much is permissible? 2500 ppm maximum is permissible to be added in bread. So this is an indicator to the manufacturer that they, whatever is their requirement, accordingly they can add such preservatives as limiting to the law. You can see there's a lot of preservatives which are given and their recommended dosages as well. So next we have the labeling requirement. So coming to the labeling requirement, the first and foremost thing is the name of the product and the list of ingredients in the ascending order, in the descending order. Whatever is the major ingredient should be given first, and likewise the next ingredient which is higher in quantity, likewise it should follow a descending order. And nutritional labeling means your whatever is your protein, fat, fiber, kilocalories, okay, energy in kilocalories. So you can see here, these are some of the nutritional parameters which are to be given in the nutritional labeling. In case if we have a health claim or a nutritional claim, like it is rich in dietary fiber, it is low in cholesterol. So likewise, these health claims should be supported by documentary evidences on file. And in case if we have added some allergen, like say for example, soy, nuts, egg. So likewise, wheat, gluten. So these needs to be specified in on the nutritional label. And a vegetarian symbol and a non-veg symbol. In case if any non-veg ingredients have been added, so they should be in the front of pack labeling. And in case the food is having an organic claim, so this is the symbol for organic with with these words Jaivik Bharat. In case we have added some additional fortificants, so F plus symbol stating this it is a fortified food, and with the slogan Sampurna Portion Swasth Jeevan should be present on the label. So the added preservatives with the either the E number or the INS number should be stated. Along with the statement, it should be given on the label declaration. And you have the, as I told you, the FSSAE logo along with the FSSAE license or the registration number, along with the manufacturing address and certain important things like the country of origin or the country of import, the directions of use, the best before or the expiry date. So all this needs to be given on the label. In case if your commodity is processed by irradiation, then a stamping of the irradiation is must. So you can see I have just given a modern, an example of the labeling requirement. You can see a vegetarian symbol here, and this is a ginger turmeric cookies with the nutritional labeling, net weight, MRP, manufacturing expiry. You can see the FSSAI license number and the directions. You can see here, this is marketed by, manufactured by, and the ingredients specified, no added flavors. So this is how a label should be. So I'm happy to introduce the food testing lab of NIFTM Tanjavur as well, which is NABL accredited, FSSA referral and the National Reference Laboratory. And we offer a lot of testing services for the commodities. So I request all of you, like the food business operators, whoever is interested in getting their products tested can definitely approach us for the service. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's really an informative session. Thank you for joining with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we are moving on to the next technical talk, which is on packaging solution on bakery products. For this session, we have with us Dr. S. Ananda Kumar, Associate Professor and Head in Charge, DFPST, NIFTM Tanjavur. He obtained his doctoral degree in Food and Agriculture Process Engineering from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. Prior joining to NIFTM Tanjavur, he served as an assistant professor in the Department of Marine Technology, College of Marine Science and Technology, Northeast Africa for 3 years. He has more than 15 years of experience in teaching and research, and also specialized in designing food processing equipments and development of sustainable food packaging materials. He has designed and developed small scale equipments like continuous type counter current format dryer, solar packed bed dryer, rotary washer, and solar desalination system. His areas of research and teaching interests are the design and development of processing equipments, development of packaging materials, and analyzing the quality of food produced by the non-destructive methods. He published over 30 papers in international and national journals and proceedings of the national and international conferences. I welcome you, sir, and thank you for accepting our invitation. The session is over, you too, sir. Thank you.
This session, we can see what are the advanced technology or what kind of packaging materials that can be suitable for packing of particularly the bakery products. As the that time is very short, I can give you a very crisp technology aspect about the packaging of this bakery product. So anything you have any doubt on this, you can put your question in the chat box. So later we can also have the discussion related with any technical issues. So when we say the packaging is one of the important operations in the processing sector, particularly when we sell the product into the market, mainly the consumer, they will see the product. First, the packaging will give the appearance to the consumer. So mainly the importance will be given for the consumers by giving a very good attractive packaging designs or attractive colors in the packaging. So that will make a very sustainable growth in the selling of the product. So in such a case, if you take the packaging, any valuable commodity, it is covered in any physical material, either it can be a wrapping or it can be molding a particular packaging material. So that action should be called as a packaging. Mainly the packaging will do the major four functions which include containment, protections, communications and utility of the performance. So whenever you see the product in the market, even if you take the biscuits, nowadays you can get the biscuits, 5 rupees packets are also available, 10 rupees packets, 15 rupees or 25 rupees packets also available. So in such a case, according to the consumer demand, so the containment size which is very, so the packaging will make very convenient to the consumers as per the requirement. So in such a case, the packaging is one of the major important criteria in the processing sector. And considering the why we are going or what is the importance of innovative packaging systems in the food sector, if you see, one thing is the consumers want nowadays the ready to eat food items are coming very popular in the market. And if you see the bakery product, it is a ready to eat product. So in such a case, there are many products are coming in the market. Either it can be imported product or many R&D is taking place in our country also, particularly in the bakery product. So according to the consumer demand, so in all these cases, we have to meet out the consumer requirement. At the same time, we have to follow the legislation or government norms which has to be given by the FSSAI and other sector. So in such a case, the packaging is very, very important. And another thing, whenever we want to make any product or whenever you want to sell any product in the market, there are many challenges and there are many what we can say the opportunities are there in the packaging sector. So in such a case, we have to fulfill all the requirements. So in such a case, there are many chances for the entrepreneurs as well as the packaging industry people to make unique packaging designs or unique packaging material for particular product. Even if you take the bakery industries, there are many products available. Even you can take a bread. Okay, there are the sweet breads are available, salted breads are available. There are different varieties are available. Even if you take the pastry, different varieties are there. And each product have a different kind of nutrition profile. And in such a case, when we want to protect these nutritive values, or when I want to protect this commodity from different environmental factors, the selection of the packaging materials or the uniqueness of the packaging designs are very, very important. And another thing, you can see that the employment turnover, particularly the rate of interest in the employment also. If you see the urbanization or when you see the mechanizations, when you want to make a continuous production line. So in such a case, what is the packaging technology you are adopting or what is the packaging material you are using? That should have very good machinability, that should support or that should synchronize with the production line. So in such a case, there are many challenges or opportunities available in the packaging sector, particularly in the bakery product. In general, if you see the major requirements of the packaging material or packaging technology for the bakery product, mainly our bakery product, it has a more nutrition value and it can be easily affected by the environmental factors. So in such a case, whenever you select the packaging material should have very good moisture barrier. The packaging material should have very good gas barrier properties. Aroma retention properties should be there. Even sometimes you may see some of the bakery product, the color degradation will be taking place. So in such a case, your packaging material, you should have that UV protection layer also, so that your commodity can be stayed for longer period, and this environmental factor that will not affect your product quality during that storage period. So in such a case, these are the major requirements, particularly when you go for selecting the packaging material for these bakery products. And another thing, if you see the classification of the bakery products, almost you might be seen in the initial classes also. But considering that packaging requirements, for example, we have this unsweetened goods, sweet goods and filled goods, particularly if you take that pastry product. So in such a case, sometimes the materials are homogeneous material, or it can be a heterogeneous material. But whenever the food products are heterogeneous, for example, if you take filled goods, so you may have some dry materials also. Sometimes you may have that stuffed material also added inside. So in such a case, whenever you make such a heterogeneous material, the protection is very complicated, because if your materials are very homogeneous material, you can select certain parameters. Either you can control that oxygen barrier, or you can control that moisture barrier, so that your product will not having a much more changes during the storage period. But your product having a heterogeneous characteristics. So in such a case, you have to design a packaging material in such a way that the packaging material which will protect the product, the stuff items also, as well as the dried materials also. So in such a case, it should have more complications. Particularly, you should give importance to the gas barriers also, aroma detection also, moisture barrier, and printing properties, heat sealable properties. So there are many factors you have to consider when you go for protecting the heterogeneous food items, particularly the bakery product. And another thing, if you see the deterioration in the bakery products, particularly we have that product based on the classifications, we have the dry bakery products, we have the moist bakery product items also. And there are the spoilage characteristics. If you consider, either it can be a microbial spoilage, chemical spoilage, either it can be a oxidation, or it can be enzymatic reaction, non-enzymatic reactions. Okay, that the browning reactions which will be caused. Otherwise, you can see that a physical spoilage, okay, due to the dryness that is taking will be there. Otherwise, due to the moisture absorption, fungal growth or microorganism growth will be taking place. So, in such a case, the deteriorations, it can be taken or it can be happen because of the different parameters or because of the different actions. And in such a case, you have to target what are the major factors which will which will affect the product quality. Based on that, you have to select the packaging material for your product. In general, if you see that packaging classifications, we have that primary packaging and secondary packaging, as well as transit packaging. Considering that bakery product, either it can be bread or biscuits, so we have that primary and the secondary packaging material. So the primary packaging material will have the direct contact with the food items. The secondary packaging materials that can be used for handling and transportation purpose also. When you select the primary packaging material, either it can be plastics, or it can be a waxed paper, or it can be a container-based, metal container-based packaging material also. It should be a food-grade packaging material. So in the previous lecture also, they have explained as per the FSSAI guidelines, what are all the things should be considered as a food-grade packaging material. So in such a case, when you select the primary packaging material, you have to think of that what we can say, that barrier properties, as well as that the chemical reactions with the food items. So the selection of the packaging material that should not have any reactions with the bakery product. Sometimes you can see that oil absorptions, okay, that oil absorption will be there, oil migration, fat migration will be there. So that should not be taking place because of that primary packaged food item. And secondary packaging food items, that should have very good strength and stability, and it should not be affected by the environmental factors. Okay, either moisture absorptions, those things should be there. Either it should withstand the vibration during the transportation, all those things, to avoid the physical damages. So that has to be considered. In general, there are 4 major packaging materials are used in the packaging of these bakery products. You can see that metal containers, glass bottle, plastics, and cardboard. So each packaging material, it has the unique advantages and disadvantages also. So based on the cost, applications, and shelf life of the commodity, that the packaging material can be selected for the bakery products. In general, they will say cost wise, 8 to 10% of the cost you can spend for packaging materials and the technology what you are using it. If you consider the plastics, we have that flexible packaging material and the rigid packaging materials. Mainly, if you see that flexible packaging materials are abundantly used in the bakery products, and it can be a primary packaging material. Will have the direct contact with the food items, and it is also coming with the monolayer material or multi-layer laminated pouches are there. So whenever we want to extend the shelf life of these commodities, mainly we can go for laminated or metallized pouch materials. Even sometimes you can see some of the bakery products we will have a modified atmosphere packaging or active packaging technology. So in such a case, this flexible packaging material should retain the gases or it should retain the aroma or flavor component of the product. So this flexible packaging material, it can be produced in the industry by axial blown method or casting method. And this flexible packaging material, by using that shrink wrapping technology, you can see mainly that cookies or cakes or bakery product can be packed by using that shrink wrapping machine. This shrink wrapping machines, which may have this BOPP film, biaxially oriented polypropylene film or LLDP film, so that can be covered with the product, and by application of the heat, it can be tightly packed. So that can be kept it in the display racks, or else it can be sold in the market, keeping in a corrugated box, it can be sold. So this is the technology which is used for the particularly the cakes and muffins or bakery product. And another thing, you can have that bread packing technology. So normally the breads are packed in polyolefin materials. Otherwise, you can say that polyethylene, biaxially oriented polypropylene or oriented polypropylene. These are the packaging materials are used for packing of the bread. And these breads are normally packed either with the tag system, otherwise it can be tied with the twist type bands. So normally FSSAI says the rubber bands are not recommended to pack in the packing of these breads or buns, or similarly that is staple pins, that is are not recommended for packing of that bread. So in such a case, the twin time bands, otherwise what we can say that the sealing can be done. And this type of packaging materials will have very good attractiveness, and that can be, even you can see that automatic packing of the bread lines are also available. So that may use that tags for using the tying of the bread packet. And also whenever you select this bread packaging material, that should have very good moisture barrier, because normally the bread will have that moisture content around 12% and above. So in such a case, this type of product, when it absorbs that moisture, or when it loses the moisture, the staling will come when it absorbs that moisture. So that fungal attacks will, fungal growth will come. So in such a case, your packaging material, what you are selecting, that should have very good moisture barrier. And another thing, we have that rigid containers. The rigid containers, it can be made by either thermoforming method or injection molding method you can make. So this type of punnet boxes are available for packing or dispense of the cakes in the market. Another, you can see the biscuit packaging. So this is another bigger area. Mainly, if you see in our bakery industry, you may have bread and biscuit packaging is a major dominating area. And in such a case, if you see that a biscuit packaging, so it has that liner material also. That liner material, it may be made by that PVC trays or PET or oriented polypropylene. Apart from that, it can be covered with the flexible packaging material, otherwise it can be covered with a metallized polyfilm. So the liner material that can protect your biscuits during the vibration or during the transportation or handling. So your biscuit will be very safe. And also you can have, you can see that the moisture content of these biscuits will be less than 6%. So in such a case, it will be in hygroscopic in nature. So whenever it is open, it can attract the moisture from the environment. So in such a case, the outer cover, what you are using, So that should have a high moisture barrier so that your biscuits will not absorb that moisture, so that during the storage period, the crispiness can be maintained in the biscuits. Nowadays, you can see in the market that resealable pouches are coming in the market. So these resealable pouches, so once you open the packet, okay, so we can't consume the product completely in a single time. So in such a case, these type of resealable pouches are coming in the market that also will protect your product from the moisture absorption, and also that can protect the crispiness of the product during that storage period. So this is more convenient for the consumers and also avoid postal losses during the handling period or the storage. Another technology we are using it, that is called modified atmosphere packaging. So when we say that modified atmosphere packaging, removal of air from the packet and flushing the known gases, particularly that carbon dioxide or nitrogen, we are using in the bakery product. Even if you see that the bread packaging or muffins or biscuits, so we are using that modified atmosphere packaging technology. In such a case, if you take that bread packaging, we are using 70% of nitrogen and 30% of carbon dioxide in the bread packaging also. Even you can see some of the bakery products, okay, so that high value commodity. So for preserving that quality, they are using it higher amount of the nitrogen, because the nitrogen is the inert gas that can be used in the muffin, so that that can protect your product from different environmental factors due to the spoilage. And there are many MEP machines are available. You can see that the form fill sealing machine, chamber machine, or as you can see smoker machine. Particularly that vertical form fill sealing machines are used for this end packing of these muffins, or the what we can say the cake slices. So this type of products will be filled with the nitrogen gases. So these nitrogen gases are inert gases and it is not insoluble in water. So this type of gases which will shows like a pillow packaging, and that will protect your product from the physical damages, and also that biochemical reactions can be controlled by flushing with this type of modified atmosphere packaging technology. Another thing, we have this vacuum packaging. So in this vacuum packaging, we are removing the air from the packets, and because of that, we are controlling that the biochemical reactions, particularly that oxidation effect, and also we are reducing that volume of the product by using this vacuum packaging technology. So this is the vacuum chamber, single chamber vacuum packaging machine. Okay, there are single end, double end, sealing ends also available. So based on the capacity of the productions, you can buy bigger machines also for creating this vacuum. So when you create that vacuum, it will almost control the oxidation effect, so that your product quality can be maintained for longer. Another thing, we have that gas flushing, otherwise we can call it as a active packaging system. So when we say that active packaging systems, either we can flush the known gases, either carbon dioxide or nitrogen, into the pouches. Because of that, we can control the what we can say that biochemical reactions or microbial kinetics or microbial growth. Otherwise, we can add scavengers, particularly that oxygen absorbers, ethanol emitters, okay, that carbon dioxide absorbers, okay, this type of sachet we can add it into the pouches, so that will modify the environment of the packaging system, so that your product can be stayed for longer period. So that is comes under gas flushing or active packaging system. Another packaging material we are using is the paper. The paper, we have craft paper, sulfate paper, parchment paper, otherwise we can have wax paper. Particularly in the bakery area, we are using that parchment paper and wax paper, because to avoid that fat migrations, and also when we use the cookies or muffins, okay, to avoid that fat migration. So we are using this wax paper or parchment paper, and this type of papers also recommended for heterogeneous product. For example, if you buy such burgers or other things, so for this type of products, that juiciness or that will not be easily migrated in this type of paper-based products. And nowadays, that rigid containers, paper-based containers also used to avoid the usage of plastics in the packaging system. So this type of products, it can be packed by using that induction sealing machines. And this type of containers also sometimes called as a composite containers. So these composite containers will have that metal lids, otherwise it can have that plastic lids, and the inner sealing can be done by that induction sealing by using that aluminum foil. And the internal inner wall of the containers, if you see, sometimes it can be covered with a liner of aluminum foil. So it can retain some gases also. Otherwise, that will maintain the quality of products by avoiding that migration and other things. Apart from that, we have this alternate packaging, particularly that bag-in-box system. It is also having bag-in-box system with a flexible packaging systems or bag-in-box system with a rigid container. When we say the rigid container, this type of thermoformed trays can be placed inside, otherwise a flexible pouches, it can be filled with the product and it can be filled in the boxes. So these type of products that will support the consumers like a unit package. Individual product can be packed with a flexible packaging material and that can be packed in a boxes. Okay, so that is called bag-in-box method. And another thing, we have that cake box, particularly that corrugated box or cotton box are used for packing of this cake. Apart from that, we have this ice cream cakes also. So whenever we pack this type of product, we use that white lined chipboard boxes or solid chip boxes. Along with that, we are using that ice gel pack. So that will maintain the cooling effect so that your ice cream cakes which cannot be melted. And these packs which may use that propylene glycol or other cooling agents. And this can be used for n number of packs. Again, you can cool it and you can use it in the packing system. Then we have that metal containers. So normally that metal containers, tin containers we are using, or that aluminum containers we are using it. So when we say that tin containers, by using that electrolytic chromium coating method, they are using these tin containers. And this type of tin containers, either 3-piece cans or 2-piece cans, which is used. Mainly you see that the packaging of odd size biscuits, okay, different size. When you pack, or when you make this type of gift packaging, they are using the tin containers. When you make such a tin containers, the lacquers coatings given in the tin containers are very, very essential. And also this type of containers, it should have hermetic packaging that should not allow any air to enter, because this type of cookies will have that fat content. And when it is any leakages are there, that will be easily reacted with atmospheric oxygen, then rancidity will form. So that time the product should be hermetically sealed. And this type of product can be packed in the container for 3 months period. And apart from that metal containers, we are using that aluminum foil. And these foils are also used in the bakery product, particularly packing of that plum cake, or you can see that what we can say puffs and other things. So that things also it can be packed in that aluminum foil, and it has that mainly used in that hygienic condition, durability, okay, less in weight, and the cost also very effective. And these aluminum foils are used. Another packaging technology, it is used to intelligent packaging. So nowadays the products quality can be monitored during the storage, particularly the safety and quality. So active intelligent packaging are also coming in the market. So easily by seeing the color of the indicators, you can easily understand the product safety and quality during the storage period. Another thing, that radio frequency identifications are also coming in the market in the bakery line. So the traceability, okay, that company manufacturing or traceability or storage systems, okay, ingredient details, everything you can easily identify by using that Wi-Fi coding system or RFID tracking system. You can easily generate the QR code or Aztec code or the unique barcoding system. You can easily understand the traceability of the product or information about the product. Another thing, you can see that anti-theft tampering evidence boxes are also coming in the market. So whenever you open the cookies packet or that biscuit packet, if there is any malpractices has been done, so that also you can easily identify by using this anti-theft tampering systems. Another thing, nanotechnology is also sustainable packaging system also coming in the market. So by adding a nanocomposite materials, adding a filler materials, okay, adding an anti-microbial coating systems in the nano packaging. So that will also improve the shelf life of the product. There are many companies they introduce nano packaging system for the bread. And because of adding this nano packaging system, the bread life is increased up to 3 weeks period. So this type of technologies are also coming in the market. And another thing, sustainable packaging material. So wherever we want to minimize the usage of plastics nowadays, that PLA based, polylactic acid based packaging materials are coming in the market. So recyclable, reusable or biodegradable packaging material. So that is also nowadays getting importance in the bakery line, and many industries they start working on it, usage of biodegradable packaging materials in the bakery systems. Another thing, fortified bakery products also coming to the market. Whenever you develop biscuits or bread, nowadays that fortifying technology, particularly adding vitamin B complex in the product, adding iron in the bakery products. So these are all the things also coming in the market. So in such a case, whenever you add fortification in your bread or bakery products, and this fortifying agents, it can be affected by the temperature, it can be affected by the light, or it can be affected by the environmental gases. So in such a case, whenever you make such a fortified food items, your packaging material should have light barrier, it should have a moisture barrier, and also it should have a oxygen barrier. Because whenever you add iron powder, when it reacts with the atmospheric oxygen, that iron will oxidize. So in such a case, packaging material should be a good gas barrier, moisture barrier, and a light barrier. It's very, very important. The previous lecture, Nitya madam said about that FSSI. So that what we can say, the serial based product 2.4, you can refer, otherwise that other product 2.11. Okay, whenever you add ingredients and other thing, whenever you make a new kind of product, so you can refer this FSSI regulations, so that will give complete pictures. And another thing, whenever you sell the product, so these 13 parameters you have to print on the labeling. That is very, very important and mandatory as per the FSSI license. And whenever you buy a packaging material for your product, because you know the manufacturing date, and you have to print the expiry date also. So whenever you make new product, you have to print the expiry date. For that, you can approach any technical institutions, for example, NIPTM Tanjavur, or nearby your production area, any food technology institute there, you can tie up with them, and you give samples and evaluate it based on your packaging material, and test your packaging material, and based on that you can come to the conclusion what will be the expiry date for your product. So that can be printed. So there are other things, for example, particularly if you take, apart from packaging material, packaging machineries, the handling sectors also getting more popular in the packaging line. Even you can see in India, there are many industries are coming for the handling and the transportation equipment development. Even if you take in our country, what is the packaging material we are producing? In that, majority of the packaging materials are used in the food applications only. So in such a case, there are a lot of opportunities for developing new kind of packaging machinery, new kind of transportation equipment, handling equipment in this sector. So there are many opportunities for the packaging peoples also to play a major role in this packaging and transportation area. So with this, I conclude as a industrials, as a technologists, as a students or entrepreneurs. So whenever you develop a product, and when you come to the packaging line, you think the packaging material should support your product in terms of extending the life. And second thing, the packaging material cost or packaging material technology should be feasible. That should not be burden, or that should not add additional cost to the consumers or in the production line. And another thing, whenever you select the packaging material, it should be an environmental friendly packaging material. You think that recycling or reusable that technology or biodegradable packaging technology, so that will support the environmental friendly techniques. So with this, I thank our director and the PMFME team for giving this opportunity to share some of the importance or the advanced technology in the packaging of this bakery product.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining with us today.
Thank you.
So we'll be moving on to the third technical session on entrepreneurs experience sharing. For this, we have with us Ms. Ruchika Bugalka, founder Millet Amma Bangalore. She is a health and nutrition enthusiast and is a passionate promoter of the organic and natural lifestyle. Her mission was driven by millets being not only healthy but also beneficial to the environment and economy of the farmer community. She started developing recipes to offer millet-based alternatives to accommodate various cuisines and dietary preferences. She has developed over 30 healthy and wholesome recipes that are now served to families around the world. Currently, the company's product line comprises of nearly 40 SKUs, including batters, mixes, pizza base, cookies, grains, flours, and many more. We welcome you, ma'am, to this webinar. Please proceed with your session.
Thank you, Niftim, for calling me over. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, ma'am.
Okay. I don't have a technical knowledge or too much of technical input from those aspects because this is a venture which I started as a homemaker. And as a homemaker, whatever experience I have gained in terms of millets and cooking best recipes out of millets is my expertise. And I look into the nutritional aspect so that I can offer my customers the best millet-based products so that they can get the best benefit out of these. So my main motto is that, and I would say all the participants also making any recipe and making any kind of food products, please look into the nutritional aspect, which is very, very important. And we should see that, we could offer our customers a healthy food product because we as a manufacturer may get into, chemicals and preservatives. But if we look into our kitchen, we will see that all our ingredients in the kitchen itself acts as a preservative. So, but whatever is happening in the market is there, but my motto is not that, but to give a very healthy food products to everyone. So I would request everyone to look into those aspects also, and best possible, don't include any chemicals in your food products, because of those chemicals now every house has some kind of lifestyle diseases which is incurable. So definitely look into those aspects and be natural and as much as possible. So while baking with millet-based products, I found that, with millets, it is very, very important to understand each millet in different platforms because each millet is different and they taste very, very different. And they all have some kind of nutty flavors. So while you're cooking, you should see that while you're baking any millet-based products, you should see that what combination you should give so that the flavors what you give to your product should overcome that nuttiness so that people can accept it more in terms of taste. So I try to combine the ingredients in the way that it becomes a tasty product rather than just being a millet product. Because until your food is tasty, your customer will not take it. They may have it once or twice, but you will not have a continuous demand from the market. So making your food product tasty is very, very important, and you need to really standardize your process of baking and making your food when you are doing it. So do over and over and over, experiments and before finalizing any recipe. Note down your temperatures, note down how much it has to be baked and what temperature, how long it has to be baked. All that is very, very important because we do in-house all that, and I personally do all that recipe formulations and do. If you all are working with millets, I would suggest one more thing that while you are adding other ingredients to your millet-based products, you should definitely try to add some protein, some form of protein. Because when millet is combined with protein and little bit of fat, the product comes out very, very tasty. At the same time, the protein helps to bind the millets because these are all gluten-free, and the digestibility of that product becomes much easier for the customer. So please note that whenever you're making a millet-based product, add some kind of protein and little bit of fat to it in a natural form. You may also use a lot of seeds and nuts because they act as a very good fat to your product, a natural form, and that also acts as a preservative to your product. So why, if you work like this, I'm sure you can come up with very, very good recipes with keeping up the percentage of millet also good in that quantity. So that is my experience in terms of millet, because I otherwise don't have much technical expertise on my hand. But as far as 7 years goes, I have experimented on pizza base. I have baked a pizza base, which is the shelf life of 9 months, lab tested. And we are working on making the shelf life of the pizza base 1 year also, which is a very, very unique product because we have not added any yeast to these and made a thin crust pizza bases. So, which is very, very surprising. Everybody asks me how you make a pizza base which has 6 months or 9 months shelf life. I said, I'm not adding any kind of preservatives or chemicals. I'm making it a pre-baked. So in that way, people get a lot of nutrition at the same time while they're eating their pizzas. So any young kid or a college going student, they can make their own pizzas in 5 to 10 minutes. They just have to put their sauce, vegetables and cheese and bake for 5 minutes. So we have to come up with these kind of products which is makes the life of the customer easier, at the same time nutritious also, and keeps them away from all kinds of chemicals. Because as an entrepreneur, when we work on those lines and give the customer the best product, you will not have to look behind. You will always go in front, and people will ask for your product if it is tasty also at the same time. So that is very, very important. Please keep in mind, while you're making a product, keeping it as natural as possible, keeping it as tasty as possible, keeping it as nutritious as possible. And if you're making a millet product, please add your fiber, your good fat, which comes from your nuts and seeds, and protein from your dals and pulses. That then you will have a awesome product, and you don't have to look behind. So from the bakery aspect, this is what we have been doing it, and you can always look into it. And if any of you need any help, I'm always there. You can go to my website and take my personal number from there and reach out to us. We will help you out if you are starting any entrepreneurial journey. So here we are, Ruchika from Milletama.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's really impressive on hearing your products also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now we are moving towards the last but not least technical talk, which is on bakery business insight experience sharing. For this session, we have with us Mr. Salai Vadamalai, founder, Ozwan Cookies, Tanjavur. I will quickly introduce her to you. He developed and established the world first traditional rice cookie brand with different traditional rice varieties. He engaged in the production of high quality cookies with a commitment to preserve traditional rice varieties. He established food products contributing to diversification and innovation in the food industry. He is actively involved in the innovative project by the Government of India, CSIR, IIIM Aroma Mission, focusing on developing aroma crops in Tamil Nadu and producing essential oils. Currently, he is serving as a Managing Director of Universe Cookie Food Private Limited. I welcome you, sir, and thank you for accepting our invitation. The session is over to you, sir. Thank you.
அனைவருக்கும் மதிய வணக்கம். My name is Salai Vadamalai Mani. We have collaborated with traditional farmers who follow organic and natural ways for the cultivation of several traditional food crops. We have formed a farmer-producer company and successfully cultivated many food crops like traditional kinds of rice and millets in 2015 to create value addition to the crops through bakery training and NIFTAM, which was called IIPT at Tanjavur. We were given excellent guidelines on value addition by HOD Nija Madam, Incubation in charge Hema Madam, and Director Anandaraman sir. We decided to start a bakery by beginning our millet grains to the incubation center, the NIFTAM Tanjavur, to training, produced bakery products and sold that at the native place. In 2017, we formed Universe Products at Annavasal. Our HOD Madam honored the opening function as well. We are thankful for our NIPTM Tanjavur Director Sir, HOD Madam and other faculties and scientists. And also from then till now, we are grateful to NIPTM Director Mr. Palanimuthu Sir for all the support like marketing linkage to take our brand Udavan's Cookie to various states in India. Last year, 2023, which in the International Millets Year, NIPTM gave us many free stalls at various events across in India. Small startup like us producing value-added products in guidelines, marketing and business expansion. Thank you so much for the all from the Udavan's Cookie family. As a result of all this, we got a call from MOFI, Ministry of Food Processing Industries. The reason we feel most privileged in this MOFI recognized our organization and brand Udavan's Cookie as through all the protocols for our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, to visit our stall and view our products at the MOFI event. We are thankful to the delegates in the MOFI department. And once again, our thanks to NIPTM Tanjavur officials who helped us get the opportunities. Today we are appreciated and recognized after the MOFI event. This is a good step forward because the Prime Minister of Bharat looked at our brand side nice, good, and touched our Udavan's Cookie logo and appreciated me with a tap on my shoulder. We will create a movement forever when the several large startups in the government selected companies that produce small quality products and engross as a extend our thankfulness to the government officials to will give the motivation for the 2000 another 15 years to the good food production business. I was the bit thoughtful back in 2015 to back the millet the product to the food business, but with a lot of support and guidance from the NIPTM team and others will help Udavan's Cookie in growth journey. Today we have the officials in 4 locations, 2 production unit in Tamil Nadu, and we are forming a startup in Haryana, Delhi. For all the happened, we thank NIPTM directors, Sir HOD Madam, and incubation Shinija Hema Madam, and other professors. Thank you so much for this opportunity to the presence as in the wonder for the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your views. Thank you for joining with us today. So we came to end of all the technical sessions. Now I invite Ms. Priya Agarwal, young professional, NIPTM Tanjavur, to deliver the concluding remarks, please.
Thank you, Nandini. I hope participants got the clarity of all the doubts they have, and from the presentation, they came to know that how to business will start and how the bakery works in India. And so I would like to conclude remarks and vote of thanks. Thank you all the speakers and participants for joining the session. I hope from this webinar you will get the valuable knowledge about the bakery and ideas to start up their business and or like extend their business in the bakery. Thank you so much. On the behalf of NIPTM Tanjavur and PMFME team, I formally announce that webinar is over. Thank you all for joining with us. Thank you so much.